Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started, guys. And not sure how many people will get on tonight. If we don't get too many on, that's fine. I'm just going to cover some ETFs, just kind of some free information, and we'll go from there. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Do what's best for you. Okay, so how does the channel work? Typically $5 super chat. I'll analyze any symbol you want me to. But if we don't get a lot of people on, I'll come back and take a look. I'm going to start out by just kind of recapping the market overview because this is a public live stream. So I have people that will watch this that aren't getting our other videos that our members are getting. So pretty much the market right now more than likely is going to rally in this three swing move. And as we form this connector, it can morph into a lot of different shapes and sizes. We could have something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can even pull back like this and make even another high later, and then fail, right? And so there's too many ways to label, and the count has a lot of permutations and combinations. This is as valid as the one I just showed. There's another valid count where I could put the 2 here and then show this as like a 1, 2, like that. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways to do the count. So you're like, how do I trade this if I'm an Elliott, trade it with Elliott waves? Well, what happens is people have a personal bias and they just pick the one that they like. The perma-bull chartist will just call this the low and we're going to new highs. The perma-bear chartist would just label this as 2 or put the 2 there. So the problem is we have to look at a lot of other signals to kind of get a good idea of the forecast and then make our best guess. And that's kind of how we trade this market. I do believe this is the most likely path. We were looking at this, and I was looking at this too. There's also another path that I call the shakeout path, where it's something a little bit different. The Qs isn't a good example of this. Let's go to a different index here. Yeah, the Qs wouldn't be the right index for that. Let's use like the Dow Jones. You see here you have 3 waves. Well, what if it's this count? Hey, cool. Thanks for that. That's the first time I've ever seen that, a gifted membership. Not sure what's going on with that, but thanks for doing that. I think you'll enjoy your membership. And the elite video for the weekend will go out tomorrow. And so here you go, guys. Sorry, train of thought again. Come back like that. And then this is this. So what if the market really is panics into this tariff announcement and forces Trump's hand to delay or reverse his policy, and then you get something like this? Very possible. And you just break the lows, just enough to stop out everybody who uses this as a pivot, just enough to. That would be the ultimate destroy the bulls, destroy the bear scenario. And we do see that. But if this is going to happen, like Monday, guys, will need to be a bloodbath. Monday would have to be a bloodbath. Futures can't open green. They'd have to open red. We would need to be down almost 1,000 points, maybe 700 points on Monday. That's this scenario, okay? If something like that happens, a lot of the perma bears will come back out and call this finished. But I don't think that's what would happen here. I don't think the VIX is going to allow this to happen. The VIX can allow this to happen, certainly. That's what I think the VIX could allow to happen. Still, not negate it yet. The VIX, I don't think, will prevent this. Now, this is obviously the most likely path. The problem I have with this path is everybody on the internet is saying this is going to happen. Everybody. Bears, bulls. And again, everyone's like, oh, everyone's so bearish. But yet, I check all the bearish posts, bearish influencers, and they're all saying a big rally is coming next week. It's some magical pump. Everything's going to go up. I mean, every bear is scared now to even say go down, except for maybe one I follow, one. But he's a perma bear, and he's been calling the top. Every one of these peaks is the end of the world for that person. So I don't pay much attention to that. But a lot of the people that I do really value, they're actually saying rally. And of course, the perma bull chartists, they've been saying rally since the lows up here. Well, shit. Well, I guess it wasn't. Well, maybe it's this low. Well, maybe it's that low. Well, we finally got it right. I think we got it right. Oh shit, maybe not. Delete my posts. Delete my Twitter charts. Let's try this again. So I think my guess is this is probably the most likely given the strength and the VIX collapse we saw on Friday. But if Monday we wake up tomorrow futures and we're red and we really melt down Monday for what and I don't know why that would happen, but if we did, it'd have to be Monday. I don't know, unless Monday is a doji type. No, the price gets jammed up in here, and Tuesday. So Monday or Tuesday, but most likely Monday. If Monday's a bloodbath, guys, I don't think it's this. I think it's this. I think it's going to be that. That's what I think is going to happen if Monday's a bloodbath. Okay, that's what I think is going to happen. And it's going to allow you to get back in on your long positions that if you missed a move, the initial dip, it'll allow you to get back in, maybe even lower a little bit. So just understand that situation is not negated. And don't let the perma bull chartist tell you this is impossible. This is very possible. This is very possible. Okay? We saw a similar thing. I was looking at the chart back in October 23's correction. And if I remember this one right, this last little dip here caught everyone by surprise. Caught everyone by surprise. But I was warning about, that this was likely to break down. But I mean, but you see how it went. It didn't create a massive crash. It just was a little bit of a dip to stop everyone out here, right? Because look, you have a nice three-wave move, right? Everyone would have said that's the bottom in October 23, right? I mean, look, it looks so beautiful. Look, we hit the buy area. We bounced, right? Erased divergent, everything. The bears and the bulls were like, it's gone. Oh shit, maybe it wasn't. What happened here? The VIX. The VIX made that last little spike up in a connector before it really collapsed. And I think the same thing is possible with the VIX again. Now what's interesting is this made a new high here off of these peaks. Off of these peaks in the connector. So going back here, what if we do something similar, right? We do something similar. And in this, the B wave becomes another flat, and we just break above those peaks. That's why I say Tuesday may also be in play. And that would be the 2003 October scenario. We break above these little peaks just enough to trap everyone thinking it's here or new all-time highs, just to get one more washout and then a V bottom, because probably Trump throws in the towel. Because the market will go crazy, and he'll delay, or there'll be a last-minute deal or some shit like that. So I just show you a couple ideas. Now, I wish I could predict the future. I just can't, unfortunately. So we'll just have to play the odds. What's the highest probability trade? Well, unfortunately, it's the one that everyone's calling. That's the highest. To me, that's the highest probability trade. I don't like to, from a sentiment trader standpoint, I don't like to go with the crowd if the crowd thinks everybody's going up. But you know what? I think this is probably the most likely path as of now. But Monday, if we drop, we know what's coming. If we start to run up Tuesday and we find resistance here and resistance right around here again, watch out for the rug pull on Tuesday. Okay? Just a couple things to think about before you go all in with your stack, because somebody said it's the low for all-time highs, or you think this is a sure shot up into this box. I think we'll get to this box, but the path to get there could be very erratic and not as straightforward as we anticipate. However, we'll call this for now. We'll call this for now. So guys, we got some super chats coming in. All right, we got some super chats coming in. I'll go ahead and jump to our super chats, guys. On your basic tier, do you talk about crypto? I don't typically look at that unless I get asked that on my live streams. I may look at that on my own. It does weigh into my overall forecast, so I do consider it, but I don't show it on there because it's not. What I try to do with my membership is just cut through the noise and give you guys, no fluff. Here's the trades. Here's what we're looking at, in and out. You can get on with your life. I'm not here to give you a lot of commentary and backstories and like show how smart I am as I look at 5 different ETFs to align my forecast. But I'll say this: I am looking at those things and those weigh in. And if people want me to look at that, I will. Like on a live stream, or if I think it's relevant, super relevant, because it's a critical piece of information, I'll bring it out. And that's what I do that for all the other secondary charts like that. Let's see. Again, I'll get to the super chats. I just want to go through the comments, just see what kind of comments. Yeah, I think Solana is not going to dip as far because of where the connector is. So that's a good thing. And ASX. Yeah, I will take that request. What I've said with everybody that's a member is once I get to get to that 500 total members, I'm going to add symbols and perks. I'll be able to devote more of my time to my channel, and I'll be able to significantly improve it without increasing the price. And that will, and what I'll do is I'll add a few that I know are missing that I think I'd like to put on there, and then I'll ask the members what you would like. And then, pick the top 5 of what everyone wants. And we can add, I mean, we definitely want to add some other stocks and ETFs and world market ETFs just to give us a better, well-rounded picture of the market. So we'll get there. We're going to get there. Okay, Jeremy, let's go to your question. Windtree. Therapeutics. Ooh, I had a bad day. Yikes. Hopefully you didn't get caught up in that mess. But you see how bullish divergence? So as of now, it's a 5th wave from here. It's a 5th wave. Nasty correction. But we have to label this as an impulse. The problem I have is if I start from this peak, which is what I should do, right? You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, right? You only have a 1, 2 here. Or I could put the 1 here. But 1, 2, and now, what are you in here? So the question is, did 5 end here? And this is a connector. I mean, you haven't even got any counter trend rally. So what I mean by that is, are you going to get this? I have a feeling you could get that with this divergence. Look at the divergence holding up. So if we're going to play for this, this could be a massive gain potential. because the shorts would be caught like massive. You ideally would like to drift, not drop, drift to 119. And then you could try to play that right around here. If this is a three-wave move, right, if this is a three-wave move, that's probably your connector. Right there. One, two. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. Let's just take a step back here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so it's probably something like this. Or 3 waves. It's probably in 3, so it's still like a WXY here. And then this is another WXY. Something like that. And now you have this tight situation. That's probably the first. Again, it's so hard to see it because you're still in the first leg. You don't want to get too... The smaller time frames are notoriously inaccurate. That's probably your first connector, an A. You need, so, you know, this is what I'm thinking. I think this is possible. If you can get down here and maintain bullish divergence throughout, like from here to here, here to here, here to here, and you still have a kind of bullish divergence, it's set up for a massive short squeeze in C that's going to end the 5-wave move down, because this would be a 3, 4, 5, and the 5 actually ended here, and you're actually correcting a much bigger cycle than people realize. The squeeze could even come back up to $10 potentially. The 4, if this is 4. This only is valid if the divergence remains intact. You know, like I said, it's some kind of 1, 2, some kind of 3, 4, 5 right now. That's the way I would label it. Again, I won't label the first part, but you get the idea, and good luck to that. Now, if it erases divergence, well then this is another 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's just going to keep going down. So I think it's set up for something like this. Good luck on that. Okay? Good luck on that. Dylan, 30-year mortgage. The bond market is in a middle area. It's in a very, you know, it's an area where each chance is probable of happening. Let's look at our mortgage chart. So we've had this mortgage chart for quite a while on my channel. It's really played out nicely. Now we're in this like 2-wave. So I call this a flat here. Some kind of flat. You see how it turned up? So if mortgage rates stay above 662, the C could be done and the 2 in. And mortgage rates are about to go through the roof. Interest rates are, the TLT is going to crash, guys. It's going to crash, and no one's going to be prepared, and they're going to be scratching their heads because everyone all of a sudden is bulled up on bonds. Now, if this can extend lower, then this would become like a 1, 2, right? And then you're going to come back to retest 6. If 6 breaks, then you're going to the pink box, which originally I thought it would get to with C. So C kind of truncated on us. So, you know, if you look at it, though, you have 3 waves. That's why I said it's in an area of indecision, because it's only 3, but I can easily put the 1 there and make it a flat. But once you start breaking down, then you know, is the flat going to extend? Is it a double correction and we'll go down to the fives? We just don't know. So that's why there's been no trade recommendations in the bond market really since I started my channel, because I don't trade these middle areas because you're just guessing. It's your gut feel. It's what someone screamed about on X that you follow and you decided to do it yourself, or your personal belief, or you're trying to outsmart the market. Like, okay, bonds should rally if the market sells off, and maybe it won't. And we saw in 22 that didn't happen. So here you go. I think personally, I will let the I think it's something like this. That's what I think. I think this too is done, but that's my personal view. And I wish I had better data to support that. But other than, as long as you're above 607, it should continue higher, and there's really no reason to get too bullish. I mean, bullish on bonds or bearish on rates. Now, if we take out 7-8, then it's the two's definitely in. And then some people would even argue it's a 1-2, 1-2, but I don't think that's the case. All right, I hope that helps you. Unfortunately, I wish I had better news. Unfortunately, depending on where the pivot is, will determine the long-term interest rates. And a lot of pain will be coming in the future for the bond market. People have no idea. They're completely clueless about what kind of pain is coming. Now here, if it ended here, we're looking at interest rates. This box isn't even right? Because I had it off of a different box earlier. I mean, this is the worst case scenario. This would be a catastrophe. That's 11-2, 12. I mean, God, the housing will probably be down 50%. You would think. Now, that's almost too bearish, right? So if that's too bearish, we probably should swing down. And if we swing back down again, that gets you to the 5-3 level, the pink box that I had here. So if we hit this area, I want to short bonds. But I don't know. Maybe it's too late. I mean, but again, I wish I knew for sure, because a fortune would be made short in the bond market right now if you knew for sure. You just don't know. But I think if you break above 7-1 again here on this peak here, I think then the debate is over. You're in two. Two's done, and it's going to be a very painful 3 or 4 years ahead of us. Now, if this happens, that's good. We could hit this trend line even at 464, but at some point we still go to wave 3, but it just won't go as high. The reason we think we'll get another swing is because we have 5 up. We don't have 3 up. We have 5 up, right? 5 up. So I just don't see, I see another swing higher in our future. Okay, guys. Ryan, watching that? Yep, we're watching that and doing that because it is like super bullish when it moves, man. But it did get annihilated earlier, like we expected off that area, right? It hit our area and bam, and then it broke down just like we said it would, right? And now everyone may want to buy it, but this is the worst time to buy it because I think it could go a lot lower now, no matter what happens here, because it's opened up a whole sequence lower. And that gets you down to 1379. So you're just going to have to be patient and wait and let the day traders fight it out. And there'll be big moves. There'll be 10% moves and 12% down moves. It's going to be big moves as we get, but I believe the general direction will be lower. And in fact, with the low breakdown, you could start to short it now on 3-wave pops if you desire to do that. We don't have a clear connector off this low yet, so I wouldn't short it here. But off of this peak, it looks like you've made 3 down, like a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like to me either you're going to finish an impulse down, which is probably likely, and then rally hard right? And then you'll see this up like 25% again or something like that, and then another 5 down, like that. That's what's probably going to happen. And then when it gets down to that box, we want to buy that because we could have some really significant gains with this pattern. Here's our wave 4. Usually you lose the whole 5th wave. If you follow me enough, we talk about that all the time, and that's $11. So this is the area. That's your sweet spot right there. You're going to have to be patient. I believe it will just bleed on down into that low, and that's what's going to happen. 26 and 29. I think that bounce could happen on this right here, this ABC. I bet those gaps fill right here on that. My guess is you're going to get a 5th wave. You're not going to get that here. You're going to get a 5th wave, and then you're going to get that bounce that's going to fill all the gaps and trap a lot more buyers, and then have another leg lower. That's what I think is going to happen. I mean, but I can't be wrong, because if this morphs into a WXY structure, and it could, like I'm showing an ABC structure for this move down, or actually I should show a 4 and a 5 even, but because you have a 5 wave down. So I'm showing like an ABC. So this would be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if it's a WXY, I just have to tweak the count a little bit and maybe make this an ABC and just force it a little bit. But as you can see, we trade the levels. We didn't even label this because we just trade the levels, and the levels worked out. You didn't even need to know Elliott waves to understand where to short this, just using the levels and Fibonacci system and our RSI system. Like, we didn't even need to label this. The labels just kind of help us, but they're not really tradable by themselves. Okay, yeah, so this is, so bigger picture would be the C wave down. Because right now it looks like it's in a zigzag, a 5 wave move down, an A, a B, and now it's in a C. Okay. It can even do something like this. And just go right to the box. And then the gaps fill later after you're down. So like, that's why I don't like the gap trade either, because you just don't know when they'll fill. They typically do fill at some point, just not when you expect them to. Yeah, I think somewhere down here. The timing of it, well, if we just kind of follow the general trend, it's like the end of March, April 2nd. Go figure. All right. So that's that. Thanks for the big super chat. Not sure if you have any more questions than that. That's fine. Okay. Anonymous, good to see you on tonight. Let's look at some of the crypto. Yeah, crypto is so tricky here. So we'll just, because Bitcoin's in a connector wave. Bitcoin's in a connector wave, and again, it has a couple things it could do. It could resolve lower, right? I was showing this earlier. It could resolve just like this, with a big bounce in B, right? And then a final low later. Or it could just stay in this connector wave and really mess with people. Go back above 100K, all that good stuff. So it's foolish to try to predict where it's going to go in that middle area, because there's too many ways to label it. This right here looks like it's only 3. If we break this low, it will look like 5 to me. It will look like 5. That would start to get me to start to believe that this may actually happen. This big move down, big flush. Okay. If it can bounce off a 3 here, the bulls have a chance of extending Y and bringing 2 up, or possibly extending the connector itself, which can mean trades in the crypto market would be pretty good on the next couple weeks. But right now, it's a flip of a coin. It's a stalemate, and it's kind of starting to drift lower. All right, let's look at your questions real quick. MIGI, we haven't looked at that in a while. How's that doing? So we were trying to trace out some impulses here, and now we're kind of, looks like it's trying to turn around, right? It looks like you got some kind of reversal pattern ready to take place, but you did break this low again. But it's kind of split in here. So let's look at the big picture again of what we were looking at here. So we have 5 up, 46 cents. Did we? Yeah, we broke 46 cents here, did we? Yeah, we did. Didn't mess our chart up a little bit. Let's clean this up. So this part of the chart becomes a connector from this low. So you have some kind of W, X, Y. That's what you're hoping for. It looks like to me it's still moving in 3 waves, not 5. If this was moving 5 waves down, then I wouldn't call this X. It looks like to me let's just look at this. It's a real tricky one here. So I'll label this part. So you have your W, X, Y, W, X, Y, W, X, Y. So the question is, did Y get finished? Is this Y finished or not from this peak? My guess is it isn't. Not yet. Again, just looking at the chart, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then or 5 here. And that would be A. And I'm going to check the RSI in a minute. One more low. One more 5-wave move down. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, we have to go to the shorter time frame. Let's take a look. A little bit of bullish divergence here between that peak and that peak. So it probably extended. It probably turned into another 1-2 here on its way down. Or better yet, why don't we call it another WXY, not an ABC, because of the divergence on the 4-hour was pretty much erased here. See, if you didn't take this low out, you could talk yourself into that being the low. But my guess, again, this is what I think it's going to turn into, is a W, X, and just go back down. Where does X end? Not really sure. It would be in proportion to, you know, like this bounce here. So this took from August 15th to 26. So it took a little bit, about 10 days, calendar days. The 26th through the 17th. The 10th through the 7th, so it's already gone farther in time than you would have expected. So it could be finished already. So I think this is what I'm looking at right now. And then it will bottom, and then a big run. Because Bitcoin will bottom in 2 and make a big run higher as well. And it's hard to get the level. So I just personally don't think this is the low right there. If you could have said potentially, if it didn't do this, I think it's going to go down again. I think it's going to go down, guys. I think it's going to do this. But this is really a tough chart because you're at the very end of a massive correction, and you're trying to fine tune it just right, and it's so hard to land that thing, but sometimes you get it right. Sometimes though it truncates and we get it, and we can get it wrong. So let me see here. Hold on one second. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. And if Bitcoin can build a bigger connector, the chances of this extending are much higher, right? But I think it will fail. Um, you have to look at it from another standpoint. Just step back and look at this chart. What you had is a massive consolidation, right? A left shoulder, a massive head, and a right shoulder, and you just broke the neckline. And not only that, you're back testing it and it failed. There's no reason to be bullish on this. Look at all that overhead supply right here. That acts as like a massive weight on the price. It's just what I see in the chart. But I do see, I'm optimistic because I see a lot of three waves that it will make another swing higher. But that's what I'd see here. This is a tough one. I wish it was easy. I don't think we even have chart support on it. So there's no support on the chart. So I'm not sure. I probably give up. There's no. If I was me, I probably wouldn't even bother with a stock like that looks like this. But anyway, this is what it looks like to me. GSOL, we're just kind of following these waves down, right? Because it was hard to get a level again on this, and it looks like to me we're in some kind of two wave. This looks too shallow. Would we get a little bit of a pump? We could. If not, then the two is done here. And that's all the bounce we really got. Or is this a 4? Let me just take a step back and look. Oh yeah, we have it as an ABC. So yeah, it's an impulse. So let's just tweak it a little bit. Let's tweak this around. Something like this. A 3, a 4, and a 5. Right? And a rally. Because this would be 5 down. The problem we have is we have 3 down, 3, but we have 5. Right? And here is a big 3, a connector. We need 3 swings down to end the correction. Something like that is what I'm thinking. But again, I could force the label. Because it's been so bearish, I could probably force the label a little bit. Maybe the 4 is here, and if we get something like this, get back up to 18, fail again later, something like that. Or I could go back and that's W, this is X, and then it just capitulates. So I think we'll go with this chart for now. Solana, let's take a look at how Solana looks though, and see if that mirrors what we have here. Yeah, see one more low, but we're stuck in this like connector. We're stuck in this connector. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I think we have more downside coming. If it does rally, it's still an X. So I think whatever happens here, I think it looks like you have 3 up. I could put the X here already finished. And then if this is right, you see how we found all this support here? If this is the right count, then we will have something like this. Something like this. And then we'll come to 90. We won't make it. This is one of the levels, right? This is an ultra bearish level, and you're like, how did I get so bearish on that level? It's because this is the connector we're basing our move off of. Unless we can go higher and take that out, extending that connector. But you see, I mean, it's so bearish, right? It's actually probably even lower than I have it here. So I think either it's obviously going to truncate in the 80s like this, which is likely, because look at that leg, right? And if I project this down here, that gets me to 71. So that's probably where we're going. So that's what I'm thinking with Solana right now. The other alternative is it will come back up in a bigger connector. All right, so I think that's what we're looking for here, something like that for now. And if it does start to pump, we're still in X, and now just raise the target. And Bitcoin will obviously be in a bigger connector. It won't just come back down. It'll be in a bigger connector in this X here. Okay, so it's one or the other. But right now I'm still favoring downside. Then upside, the reason for that is a couple of reasons. We have this bearish triangle here, and then we have a nice 5 waves down here. Okay, so we have a couple, you know, if I look at this, it looks like 5 waves, like very impulsive. And then we came back up in very corrective fashion. Very 3 waves, and then 3 waves. So it's just been it's been a very technical correction. But the trend, this should worry you. It's 5, and then not only that, we broke the low on that pullback. So that's why I favor lower. It's not just my bias, like I'm using data to favor that. If we didn't break this low, this wasn't down in 5, and this was more of 5 waves off this, then we would have a different view. But unfortunately, we don't have that. So I'm just giving you the view that I think crypto's going to go, guys. Okay. Let's take a look here. Lezec, Val, and PBR. Let's look at that. So Val, let's see how that's doing. So Val's hit our buy area. Not sure. Let's take a look. Looks like our chart got a little messed up here. We'll fix that real quick. It's turning higher. So we still really like this stock, right? It looks like it hit a area here, but let's look at that and see if this is in 5. Yeah, why don't we change this to 5 here, like this. And then I think this was our connector we may have used. I'm trying to remember why we put that box there. Yeah, somewhere around here. So it's more like 888. Should probably drawn like this. There you go. And now it's turned. And the weekly looks okay. You just broke out on Friday. So I bet that bottom's in. So this bottom's in. So if you get a pullback, you want to buy against $8. And you see how you broke the high? So you've opened yourself up for more upside. So if you get a flat, that will be a gift to get back in. If you didn't get back in on it, or people watching want to jump in on it, if it does something like that, you can get back in on that trade against 818. If not, it's probably too late. It's probably going to run on Monday hot. But there you go. What do these guys do? Are they a miner or something? Mining? Iron? Yeah, they're mining. So I want to add that to our commodities and add that to our other group we'll look at. Okay, our elite group. So like I said, I get different stocks from our members too. Especially if it has the theme I'm looking for, like the miners right now. So I think that's good. That's good. This is probably going to break $19, guys. I mean, this is probably going to break out in the future. Not tomorrow, but it looks like that was a major low here for now. Okay, PBR. All right. This is that Brazilian oil company with a huge dividend, I think. Okay, so big three waves down from here. We're up in 1, 2. I thought I used to have this chart labeled. Must have lost our labels. It's probably still in a 1, 2. This is probably another 1, 2 here of some kind. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. You know, something like that. I see we took that divergence out, so it's extended. Yeah, so let's relabel. Put the 1 here. 2. It's probably something like that. Yeah, now it's a sideways. It's in a sideways correction. I don't think that's 3. More than likely, this is another 1. And just like the rest of energy, the XLE and everything, we're waiting for this like capitulation leg, but for some reason it's just not happening. I still think this is too bullish to put the 2 there. But this is the $1,000,000 question in energy: is are you going to get that capitulation swing down to 11:30, 10:44, which is what I'd rather see, right? I'd rather see that. Something like this, and then see something like this. This is what I'd like to see. But if it takes out 15, 18, the low's in, the 2's in, and this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 1, 2, 1, 2. It's just gonna moon. It is what it is. So good luck on that. I don't know. I think this was too bullish, but you know, maybe it's not too bullish. I mean, maybe the perma bull count will work this time. Sometimes the perma bulls and perma bears get it right, right? So maybe this is super bullish. Energy is way more bullish than I've given it credit. It just does seems very unlikely. Like if I labeled the chart like this, it just doesn't seem likely. But it can be that. It just was more probable. It's the other, which means it's got to start selling off like next week, right? You're going to need that reversal next week. You're going to need to see a dump in world markets next week to see, or this week coming up. All right. KDP, sure. The staples are struggling a little bit for different reasons. I think earnings, I think it was General Mills was really bearish and it hurt all the sector. You know, I did like this chart. I mean, wow, did it really trade down here back then? Damn. Okay, let's see. Well, you see how you took out divergence here? That's probably your grand super cycle. That's your first cycle reset right there. Now you're in. Yes, this looks very bullish. I think I've covered this chart before on my Twitter account. Looks like 5 down from here. I think it's going to have a big run. I mean, I always drink Dr. Pepper, I mean, a lot of people drink that more than I see any others. So let's see here. look at that capitulation, but see all that divergence? You have to go to a higher time frame. It's a tough chart because you have 3 down here, an A, B, C. Then you only have 3 up, and that looks like 5 down. I bet you're still in the correction of 2. I bet you're still in the correction of 2. This is why I'm worried about Pepsi breaking, taking another leg lower. I think the staples are going to surprise people to the downside again. I see if I put it here, I don't think that's intellectually honest because it's only 3 waves. Even though you see 5, it just looks like 3 with the RSI. So I think the way I'm going to label it is this, but I don't really see a trade. I don't see a trade just yet. Until it comes back to retest this low. I think it could retest that low and hit this like $25, $26 area again. So that's what it looks like to me. I hope I'm wrong, but I think eventually it'll come out of this pattern and have a big bull market for the many years to come. Of course, it can always go to 0, right? Once you're in a big correction, there's no guarantee it ever will react higher. There's no guarantee, but the likelihood is pretty slim to none. So I think this is the count I would go with. Now, you could try to talk yourself into this is some kind of, because I have this as an ABC, that this is some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've already peaked on the grand super cycle. And even if that's the case, it will still bounce here. It'll find support here. So again, even if the count is wrong, this is the area. This is why we trade the area and not necessarily the count. So we don't get worked up about the count, right? We come back here. Who cares? It's the grand super cycle. It's a 1, 2. Who gives a shit? It's here. You bought it. You could care less what it was. No one trading is really worrying about the count. You know, the count does guide us, and it tells me it probably has a really good future versus, versus that it's already really had its future. But I think this is it. This is it. So we'll go with this. All right. All right, popcorn tuna. Not sure how to ask, but I've seen talk of crypto bottom very soon, but maybe 2022s will move the most. I guess just crypto bottom, but maybe ISO. I'm not sure what you mean by that. ISO 2022s will move the most. I'm not familiar with what that is, so that's okay. But here's again my count. Right, there's people that believe in the 4-year cycle, like a religion, like it's almost scripture, like holy scripture. It happens. I don't trade in the 4-year cycle, but I do keep that in the back of my mind because hey, it's been working. So, but if I look at my count, I have it bottom in somewhere here after this move is done. Could it be just a big capitulation move and it's done before you realize it's over? Sure. Could it take a long time like 2018's correction did? It goes on forever in this connector wave. This connector wave goes on for like 8 months, and then we get sure, we could do that too. And then that respects the 4-year cycle, right? So I don't really know when, but I think this is the level that it will get to, and when it does, more than likely a major cycle low will happen, and then off of that you should get the bull market everyone dreams about, levels that are probably considered stupid, crazy. I don't think that's here. And if you're in this connector wave, it could theoretically even come back up and remember, break the highs as a flat. A, B, C. What if it does that? It could do that, right? It could do something like this, right? We already saw a flat before here. You see here, A, B, C. Why? It could do the same thing again. So the connector wave could really be tricky to trade. And that would respect the 4-year cycle. So I don't know exactly how this will play out. I'm not going to sit here and guess and tell you I'm so smart I do. I just think, like, for me, looking at the chart, I have to respect my levels, and I'm not going to, I really can't, FOMO into crypto too much until we hit these lower levels. I just see too much evidence in front of me that says the trend is still lower, not higher, even if we're in a connector, because I don't like trading the middle area as a trader. I like trading the levels. If you followed me, we stayed out of trading Bitcoin all through here. And when I started my channel on February 2nd, the first trade I gave everybody as a basic member was buy Bitcoin at 84,000, and they thought I was nuts, stupid. And we hit it. And we stayed out of all this mess, guys. And our members hit that trade. Some got it down here, and then we got this big pump to 94. And I was like, hey, it would be smart to take some of your profit just in case. And look, and this is what, and now we broke the low even. So just understand, like, the bigger picture and how we trade in my system. We just don't have to trade crypto just because we wait for the right setup. And we're going to have to be patient here, I think, and let this play out. And it could take quite a while. Now, if we do see a setup in the middle here that looks like a low risk situation, I will take it and let people know that, that's a potential setup. Okay, but good luck on that. Anyway, that's all I can say about crypto. Reddit is tricky because we don't have a clear connector on it, but I am watching it, and I'm hoping that we can get a better look at a connector to get a proper level to buy it. Yeah, Tim, I think the secondary look seems to really line up with it destroys both sides of the market, and it also allows you to sell into the news event. And then buy, it's like sell the rumor, buy the news type thing. So everyone's going to sell, and then this big day happens, and the world doesn't end, and then the market's really hard, either because he capitulates, Trump does, or it was a nothing burger. I mean, it's not a nothing burger to the companies that have to pay the tariffs, but the world doesn't come to an end. It isn't like planes stop flying, trains stop going down the train tracks. Plants stop growing in the field. Like, it doesn't mean the world comes to an end, like on April 4th, or you know what I mean. And then the market realizes how stupid it was for panicking. So I think that's, to me, the most logical setup versus we pump into the news. It seems strange, but hey, maybe we will pump into it. I don't know. I mean, that's why I said, you may want to just keep that that rug pull situation. Like, it's like in October 23, guys. It's the same thing where it took that third dip down and the WXYXZ correction, which is rare to get the Z wave. No one, and it was a surprising little drop, but it was just temporary, and then it V bottom. They'll do the same thing, I think, if that happens. So HKD is like, I think it's in a flat right now that's going to have to finish. It's got to finish it. Once the dollar turns down again, I think HKD should be okay. I think that's Hong Kong, if you mean it. All right, CVX, Chevron. Let's see what's it doing. Again, energy is looking really. Looks like the permeable charts in energy are playing out, guys. I mean, it just seems that way. And I mean, look, we're taking now. Remember, I said this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think I said the level would be right around here. or somewhere in this area. And sure enough, we're like, I mean, I'm such a skeptic. I'm like, not until I see 171 break. I mean, I still can't believe this was the low, and we've consolidated sideways ever since. Like, like, you don't know how bullish that is for the markets. I mean, for energy sector. The pump will get. I think there'll be enough time to get in on that. And honestly, if we break this high, I'll probably just market buy XLE and some things. Because look at all the support. You're going to have so much chart support at one. It'll probably never break 160 again in for like a long time. So I would just say that it's still, I don't believe it. I still think something's going to happen. I just don't know what that something is. But I think for now though, you look at this, it looks like 3, it looks like 3, so correct it. So I'm just going to stick with this chart. I think we just have to stick with it and make the market prove to us that we're wrong. And if we're wrong, that's okay. We avoided trading in this area, and then we'll just hop on the long position and we'll go for the ride. And 3 of 3 on the grand super cycle for energy stocks. And I mean, this will get you to Chevron, 281, 300. So it won't get there overnight. So you have plenty of time to get in on that trade. So we'll just sit out. We're going to still sit out, but once it breaks out, then even if it wants to pull back, it's just like there's too much short support. I just can't see it. Like even if it breaks out and they want to crush it back down, it's going to find support again at the 160 level, no matter what, after you break out. So it just is what it is. Is this chart? If it's not, the 2 was done here, and it's just this massive 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 permabull chart, and it's going to explode higher. Hope that doesn't mean we're about to go to war in the Middle East, guys. I hope oil's not about to do something crazy. I hope that's not what these charts are showing us. I hope not. All right, AMD. AMD is in a connector wave. AMD is a connector wave, guys, and it should. I think it's going to extend higher before a little bit of a dip coming. A little bit of a dip here. Let me see if I can find on my AMD chart. I'll just bring it up. So AMD is at 106. So again, bigger picture. AMD, we peaked in the grand super cycle. WXY, a big connector, a WXY. So I think we're in an X wave now. It seems like it should go higher, not lower, before that connector fails. I wouldn't be surprised to see this pull back and come back to like 100. This could be a little bit of a bounce area to try to play C, but understand that this situation will rug pull at some point. So you're going against the grain. I think not all-time highs. You can't fall in love with it. Now there is another count here that's a little more bearish, depending on how I put this. If I put again, this looks like. And I didn't have this originally, but I mean, I'm forcing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 5. But I mean, when I first had this labeled, I thought it was in 3. So if that's in 3, then this could be an A, B, C, and then the connector wave is finished, and the W is already finished. Very bearish for the world markets. So if this doesn't bounce here and it starts to really nosedive, then you're looking at the connector waves already done. W was here. We just have to tweak some labels, and then you're going to get that capitulation wave across the AI sector, including NVIDIA. But this is the most likely path. Okay, but it's not the only path. And if we do start to turn down, you have to watch. You can't just hold and pray, because it could easily turn into something much more terrifying. with the ultimate level at 70, 68. And you go, wow, that's too bearish. Well, it's not really, because look at the wave 5 was so extended. It was a blow off top. Typically, you'd lose the whole wave 5 and you come back to the wave 4 low. So that's typically where you'll see it end up. And a lot of stocks in the AI sector show one big leg missing. Almost all of them do. I think all of them do. I've looked at it. But there's a connector. NVIDIA's in a connector. MU's in a connector. They're all in connector waves, because investors still hope for new all-time highs. They haven't given up yet. But the next wave down, they'll give up. They'll give up completely. And don't worry, we'll be there to provide liquidity for them to leave the market, because I'll definitely be buying. If we come down here in AMD, this would be a generational buy opportunity, because you know that company's not going away, right? That company's not going to zero, guys. So it would be a massive gift. And I still think it could get there. I still think it can get there. I know I'm not convinced that this is the end. Okay. We'll just keep going here. Hawken, PayPal, and Nike. So PayPal is one that we've been asked about before. I was reluctant to believe in that chart for a long time, right? And believe here on PayPal at some point. See, I was looking for a three-wave move, because the way we broke this low here, you see that? How this low broke down. Wasn't sure how to label this leg, but I was looking for it to fail in 3 around, I try to remember what level, if I go back in time, here at 70 for another move lower, right? So I was looking for it to fail, but it obviously didn't. It failed for a little bit, but then it got rallied. So I've looked at my count, and this is what I'm going with right now, okay? And I'm just going to go with this count for now. I don't want to trade it, because it just doesn't look good to me. It looks like in the bigger picture it's going to take a whole nother leg lower. I mean, we come from the top here. It looks like 5 down with a massive connector. So we could have another 5 down, right? I did have it as a flat, but you broke the low. So it can't be a flat. So it's got to be an ABC correction. It's got to be some kind of A, B, C correction. So we need another impulse down with the divergence erased at the higher time frames, with these lows broken. So I think that's what we're going to get. So I'm just going to go with this count for now. And then you'll have to decide what you want to do. I think as long as it's below 94, I think the right side to be on this trade is short, or looking to lighten positions. And I believe this will go down. And the possible level it could get to is this $40 area right here, 39. Right in this area is the possible low. All right, good luck on that. Again, I'm bearish on PayPal, just on the chart I have in front of me. And then Nike is one we've kept our members out of. We have been telling people not to buy it, not to catch the fallen knife. We were looking for $36, $40. And there's really no reason why to think that. We had a short here. We just missed our short entry. So we've traded this really well. We're in a grand super cycle correction. So you have a big WXY, a WXY, a WXY within Y, WX. And so you're in the last leg lower in the correction. But it looks like you're still in A. So you're going to finish A at some point. You'll bounce and you have one more low. So I wouldn't want to buy this. There's no reason to buy this. The level I'm looking to buy it at is down here. Or if I can see this finish with a ratio divergence. Now, could it bounce here? Sure. Then maybe it's in a bigger connector. just choose your connector. But it's not something I want to trade. And here's your wave 4. Like I said, you typically lose your whole wave 5. There's your wave 4. So this level, even if even optimistic, even if we don't get down here, we could see 48. So maybe 48's the right level. Maybe 48's the right number. Let me just double check my level. Sometimes these boxes shift around on my chart. Yeah, that's the right level. All right, we're just going to go with that. So what happened in earnings was not a surprise. We're not in it. We were just waiting. And at some point one day, we'll pull up this chart. We'll see it down here, and we'll go, hey, it's time to buy Nike again, guys. And it will be. Okay, BBD. All right, haven't heard of this company. So typically, we see a chart like this. Could be a very dangerous, just like pattern, right? It's a top-end pattern with not a lot of room. We look at it. There's looks like one wave, another, and another here. We don't have a lot of good chart support. Chart history to trade to use to help guide us. What's interesting is this looks like a nice impulse off the low. This looks suspect because this looks like another impulse and then another one, and then you came down and took out all those lows. So my thinking is this. We're moving in 3 waves, and we have to just move in 3 waves with this chart. This is the only thing I can think of to try to do this the right way. And something like that. And now you're in X. So X needs to move in 3 waves too. You have the first wave down here. And now you're in another X. So the question is X done here, or are you still in it? Looking at this, I bet you're still in it. And it's going to swing back up. Because it looks like 5 up here. I bet it's going to do something like that. And then it's going to rug pull you and do something like this. And then you get this later. So I think this is probably, it's again, very erratic path. Here you have 5 up. 1, 2. Let's just think about this one for a minute. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 here. 5, so that's an ABC down. Right? And then you come up and another ABC. And then you come down and another ABC. Right? So there's your connector wave for your B wave. W, X, Y, and now you're coming up in C. So yeah, I think this is going to pump. See, you already broke the high. So this is a good one. I think this one's gonna rip. But don't fall. I would worry you're gonna get a rug pull somewhere around the $4 area and get this Y. But if you're trading it and you buy it here, make the market stop you out. Don't just get allow it, take some of your profit up here And then maybe it goes higher. Maybe it's labeled wrong, and this was the low. So you don't want to sell yourself short either. But that's kind of what I'm thinking you're gonna see in this, something like that. Okay, good luck on that. Jasmine, let's see that. Looks like we've had this on here. So looks like we were calling that pushed lower in wave 3. So we were trying to label it, and looks like we got that 3 right there. There's a little bit of overlap, but I mean, it's okay, I think. Or maybe not. No, see, you didn't even erase divergence, so we can't do that. So we can't label it that way. We'll have to just keep. And it's another 1, 2. And then you have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're still in 3. Maybe 3 ended there, potentially 3. This 3 ended here. So as you can see, you've got some 3s, 4s, and 5s that have to play out. So it's going to probably go through some kind of bottoming process with slightly lower lows. You know, but hopefully you got the meat of the move lower over with. Let's look at our level, see if there's a level that we can try to trade off of. That's our level right there. So that's our level. So good luck. Let's see if it could get there. It's so far grinding lower, just like we expected it would. Okay. I think the ISO coins were financial coins like XRP, Algo. Does Bitcoin correlate with altcoins? So Bitcoin definitely I think the altcoins are more correlated with Bitcoin. The idea is Bitcoin is the king, and if the king falls, so does the kingdom. Typically, if Bitcoin goes down, altcoins go down with it. It's very rare to see an altcoin trade against Bitcoin. Although we're starting to see that with some like XRP starting to do that, but it's typically not sustainable. So it's just something to think about. Bitcoin is always my guide for crypto because it's the king, and I use that. Like they're not like independent. Although some people like to think that, but like if Bitcoin goes to 60,000, I would say 99% of the altcoins will also drop. But if an altcoin drops, you know, that doesn't mean all the other coins would. So you see Bitcoin's kind of the king over the kingdom. Alchemy Pay, okay, that's one we've looked at before. Alchemy Pay. I'm trying to remember which chart we had on that. We have that labeled, so I'm going to go to the one we have labeled. It's been a while since we looked at Alchemy Pay. All right, yeah, there we go. So did that eat? Oh, it's still technically viable. So we were trying to hold this triangle. We're looking at a triangle here. It's got a. This is a do or die level, right? For this pump, right here, right now, like because it respected this. So and you only have 3 down with a rate. So it's got to hold that low. So I'm not going to change the chart. So is this about to have a big pump for some reason? Maybe it will. Maybe it will create some space or finish up while Bitcoin trades sideways in this connector. I don't know the reason. Now, if we break this low, well then obviously it's different, right? So what's the alternative count? We would have to call this a 3-wave move where it was 1, 2, 3 for W, 1, 2, 3 for X, 1, 2, 3 for Y. We would have to call this big move a connector, and we would come down and break this low and make new lows, and I'll give you the level, and we won't even get the level because it was so bearish. It'll probably break this all-time low. So it really is a do or die back to the low, because if these break, the only other viable thing is this is a big connector wave for this move down, and it's going to take a whole nother leg lower. And you don't want to be part of that. I wouldn't want to be. So you have to be very careful. So it's a very important technical situation it's in. It's in a very, very critical moment for the coin to hold this level. Because if it doesn't, it's going to be a whole nother leg lower. This was a 1, 2, 1, 2. It probably will crash. And then who knows where it ends. So it's got to hold. But so far it is. You had this little false breakout. But it's in 3. It's come off the low pretty nicely so far. So maybe, just maybe, it will hold it and create some space that you need. So Bitcoin, you know, and maybe this is a sign Bitcoin will either extend the connector or trade sideways to allow this to pump a little bit, give it some space, and then when Bitcoin drops, this can drop but still hold these lows. That's what you're hoping for. So we'll go with this chart for now. Okay. I'm only bullish on China for the last leg higher. I'm still bearish overall China. I still don't believe I still believe China's gonna have a big move lower, but I was bullish on just a trade as a day trader like level. And I'll show you what I mean here. Let me get to it. This is my sell box. I thought we'll hit 27,000, and then, well, you see what could be coming. Okay. This was my chart. So yeah, I'm still bearish China. Hell yeah, I'm still bearish China. But am I bullish right now? Of course I'm more bullish now, because the way we look at this here, this is typically not how we top. Like, this is a connector wave, which means it implies we should swing back up. So I think it's going to die. No, I think it could nosedive back and then swing back up. If we don't do that and we just pump, then this was a 1, 2, 1, 2, deeper than you would have thought, and then it'll just finish up. So either way, this is what I'm thinking. Okay, good luck. Tesla's in a tough situation right now because we just don't have enough data. We need some more trading data to really have a useful forecast. But I'll give you my forecast. So again, we have 3 down for W, X, 3 down for Y. So you have big W, and then you have 1, 2, 3 down for Y. Now the question is, what is this? Is it going to take another 3 down and extend Y, or is it finished already? Right? Is it finished already? I mean, it looks like whatever's happening here is correct in the whole downtrend, right? It looks like the whole downtrend's being corrected. So so you can't say that this is going to extend in Y. So this is probably the most bearish view, a connector for this whole leg, which would create a whole, if it broke, a whole nother leg lower, right? What's the most bearish chart on Tesla you can think of with this situation? And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I just want to show you the most bearish outcome. That's negative. That's like, what? Is it going back to $20 or lower? That's what this would say. So it's likely to continue higher, right? Or go to new highs, which it can do with that capitulation there. But whatever this is is more likely to go higher than lower. Now, how it gets there is really tricky because you have 3 waves up, 3 waves down. So you're in a situation where it could do this and then pull back and then go higher again. And it could keep doing that for quite a while in this congested area, right? It could do that. It could also do this. It could also do, let's see, where was I here? A, like that. And it does something like this. Right? Or even that. Break these highs and then nosedive back down and do a connector like that. So this is a very tough area to trade right here. It's actually not recommended to trade. I mean, I would be on the sidelines and I want to see some more, a clearer setup, because there's too many possibilities. Because if it does dive down, the odds are it's going to whipsaw back up, because if it's a connector, it's essentially going, that was it, going bankrupt, right? It's not possible. I don't think it's possible, but I mean, I guess anything's possible, but then it's this, and then it could just grind higher. Or, like I said before, it's like this, which I wouldn't be surprised we get something like this next week. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised if we get something like this, and it turns into that. This rises back up to 340. Now, if we break this low, then this connector will fail at some point, but maybe we come all the way back up here, and then we could take another leg lower, and then the targets may be a little bit more believable. You know, that would be more like $80. Where was its previous low? Whoops, here. 141. There. 105. So we've come back to this low, or a little bit, or just pierce it. So I don't know exactly where it's going to go, but if this finishes here, this only looks like 3. It doesn't look like 5. So it looks like a connector to me, but it could turn into a lead-in diagonal. So it could do this, and then pull back, and then go to all-time highs. So, of course, this is what we want to buy, not here. So we're going to have to be patient and just wait for the right opportunity again. The good thing is, there's a couple good things. If you're bullish, you didn't break this low. That's really good. If you break this low, that's really bad if you're bullish, because it means the correction is probably going to go on for another 12 months. But it will rise. I mean, it's going to have I think it'll have a bigger connector, but the connector will fail. If it doesn't break that low, there's a chance it could go back to all-time highs. And they saved it. They saved this stock with all the people buying it the last couple of days. But if we break the low, look for the whipsaw. I personally like to buy it if it does the whip. If it wants to come down and pierce this low, I'm not thinking it's going to crash. I'm not that. I mean, that would be crazy to think. I think it would do something like this and wildly come back up. So I would like to buy that low if it breaks these lows. Okay. If it can't do that, I can't trade it. I'll have to wait for a pullback to get in on it, which is fine. It's better risk-reward setup than just buying it randomly here and keeping my fingers crossed that I bought it at the right moment. And thanks for the super chat, man. Curve is gaining. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we had that. We had that. I have to take a look at that. Yeah, that's that HSSI. Yeah, that's my chart on it for now. And again, that lines up with the world stock chart, right, that I have on the SPY, right? Ultimately, we have a 5 coming, a 4 and a 5. But what happens after 5? Well, I mean, you know what happens after five, right? A pretty big drop. Then you have to have a debate. Is this a five? Is this a 1-2? Is this, where is this in the grand super cycle? Right now, we don't care. Right now, we know that this was a major reset of a cycle. This is a new cycle. We've up 1-2. We're in 3. We're in 4 now. And then we'll get 5. And then after 5, you have big pullback. So the Hang Seng is probably, gonna do something. Maybe it peaks early. Maybe this pulls back, and when the indices make new highs, it makes a lower high in the B wave of Y. I mean, I don't know how it will go, but this, I always said that the pullback in China will be the cause or catalyst for the end of the grand super cycle in 5. Now, I don't think it come. So what if, just again, hypothetically, what if China decides one day we're going to take Taiwan? What do you think happened when Russia took Ukraine to Russian stocks? They're going to ban right away. The administration is going to do all the financial, sanctions and bans and everything else, and all your money tied up there is just going to be to shit because they're going to do that over go to war. And so those stocks are all going to crash, guys, and the world markets would as well. I mean, to me, that would be the perfect way to end the grand super cycle, and that would be caused by an action from in China, out of China as a black swan, which they said they're going to do. They're going to reunify Taiwan. They say that. It's not like it's like some tinfoil hat thing. They say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So when that day comes, is probably when 5 ends, and when China ends this, or maybe they're pulling back and then it ends here. So it's just something to think about, something to chew on, is what I'm saying. It's just something to chew on, and it's just a theory I have. It's not. There's no. I don't have any special superpowers that say that that's going to happen. It's just a theory that I have right now. Okay, guys. But yeah, I think China's going to have a deeper pullback. I don't think it's like this. China's going to the moon, because then the world market should go to everything should go right. So then that's the moon boy chart in the indices, right? If that happens, then this isn't a 4. This is a 2, and this would be a 1-2, like a 1-2, 1-2 moon boy, and we go all the way, and use your imagination. Just dream of dollar signs and riches and Lambos, because China will do the same thing. It will go to the moon. This chart will be wrong, and it will just go parabolic with the rest of the world markets. So that's the moon boy chart. Okay, that's the moon boy chart, and it's just not the realistic chart to call at this point. Just not. I'm just not going to call that. I think that's as crazy as calling Dow 1000, which some people perma bears are calling, right? So those are kind of, that's the opposite of the Dow 1000 crowd, is the moon boy crowd, that everything's a 1-2, the cycle never ends, the stocks go up forever, there's never a pullback, just hold forever. Yeah, good luck on that. So that's as crazy as someone saying Dow's going to correct to 1000. So to me, that's what it sounds like to me, just the opposite kind of craziness. MicroStrategy looks a little bullish. I think it's in a connector like Bitcoin is, but I think it resolves lower. And it's a tough one to short, because it's not a clear short setup. But it's a very volatile stock. It's great for day trading. I mean, you make a lot of money very quickly day trading MicroStrategy, man, or MSTZ. Sorry, trade MSTZ. That thing moves. That thing can move both directions. That is one nice. That is a day trader's dream stock, MSTZ, man. Yeah, Celsius. I was looking at that. It may have bottomed. It may have bottomed. We don't know that for sure. If it can take the earnings, post earnings high out, you have to say it lows in. It's just not quite there yet. Yeah, what's curve up to? You got kind of curious where that is. How's it coming out? Oh, look at that. Maybe it can make the corner. Looks like so maybe we can come out of this box finally. Well, we'll see. That looks good, breaking that high right there. As you had this big correction, you made a higher high, so that could open you up for more upside, up to 60 cents, 64 cents or higher. So that trade would be in the profit finally. Took a while, and hopefully you get a bigger pump. So no matter what happens here, even if it's a flat, right, it can turn into a flat, right? But since it broke the high, it's likely to come out of this, which is why we had this here as one to watch. Okay, so I think I come to the end of the list here, guys. We're gonna wrap it up tonight. Thanks again for dialing in. Good luck next week. I think again it could be pretty volatile week. It'll be interesting to see how the market wants to behave into this tariff, Liberation Day, as it's being called by Trump's team, Trump himself, his Liberation Day. It's going to be hard for me to see him backpedal completely from it, given how much political capital he's put into this day being so significant and such an important part of his policy. But he could delay it. That I could see. That could be perceived as temporary bullish. The other is he does go through with it. It causes a lot of panic, and then people realize the world didn't really end, and then everything just recovers rapidly. So there's a lot of ways to game this news, but we don't. That's why we don't trade the news, so we just don't have to worry about what's going to happen and what the tariffs are, because there's always inflation data. What if it comes in hot? The markets are obviously going to puke if that ever. You get one bad inflation report. There's even this rumor on X that they're finding the government economic data was fraudulent being put out under the Biden administration. And that could be, GDP, that could be unemployment, that could also be your jobs numbers as well as your CPI. What if Musk and all, they put out a correction and they're like, no, actually, we've been in a recession for the last 12 months, or, oh, actually, unemployment is here and not, the markets will totally collapse. Like, that could create a catastrophe, because fundamental investors and the Federal Reserve use that information. And if they find that information was fraudulent or not right, holy crap. So that would be a black swan no one saw coming. Again, it's just X rumor, but a lot of these X rumors and rumors on the social media sometimes come out to be true, because it was in December when I read about a virus circulating in China on StockTwits, and people laughed about, and that shit was on StockTwits in December 2019. People were posting people getting sick in China in 2019 in December. So that news was out there if you really looked. So I don't like, you see enough smoke, there probably is fire. So that's another black swan situation. Is how does that get resolved if the data was fraudulently being reported, the pump and goose markets? Now the cat's out of the bag now that you have a new administration in that's looking to bring rates down and essentially drive the markets lower for whatever purpose. Be very interesting time we're living in, guys.